Hello, welcome to the All or Nothing podcast. Our official sponsors are KR Couriers and Transport Limited. This is a Northwest based courier company delivering all across the UK. They can assist in home moves and removals to large, heavy and bulky items, collections and drop-offs. Fast, safe and reliable deliveries. Please get in touch for a free quote. You'll find all the information within the description. Thank you.
Hello, hope we're all good. Thank you for all your support. Big shout out to KR Couriers and Transport Limited. Okay, so I want to talk about my journey and my experience in Narcotics Anonymous and what it was like back then and what it's like today. Okay, some people need a meeting and some people need a beating. There you go. Back in the day, the meetings were a lifesaver. It was an incredible experience. It was daunting walking through the doors of my first meeting and seeing the room full. People with life in their eyes, smiles on their faces, wearing nice clothes, smelling fresh. I just got out of a jail into a rehab and I was in this meeting. I didn't know what to expect. The first thing I got addicted to in them meetings was comparison. I compared myself to everyone else. I said, your using is a tea party compared to mine. People were talking about, going on holiday and struggling to pay the mortgage. I was thinking, you fucking hell, mortgage, holidays. I haven't even got a pair of trainees here. That was the reality. And then this kid come up to me in the meetings and he was from Liverpool and I'd met him before on the streets. We'd used together, we'd been to prison together. The last time I saw him, he was in Walton on H-Wing begging me for a rollie. And now here he was in a meeting. 10 stone, heavier, by the way. Telling me to keep coming back. Then he pulled out a wallet. I was shocked. Then he bought me this blue basic text. Wrote in it, keep coming back. It works if you work it. But okay, is that a poem or something, or a rhyme? I was still a bit paranoid, wondering what his agenda was. Took the book off him, got back on the bus, went back to the rehab, spoke to Jason, the recovery worker. Said, this kid I know, I've been away with him. We weren't the best of mates. He's bought me this book. What do you think he wants from me? He said, Bill, he just wants your recovery. So, okay, I'll have that for now. I read this book. It's a book written by addicts, for addicts, and I felt like I was reading about myself and I could identify with a few of the stories in there. It gave me a little bit of hope, so I continued going back to these meetings. Now, the meetings in the early days for me, I was just full of self-obsession, fear, anxiety, lust, anger, jealousy and envy. There was a lot going on that I couldn't really pinpoint at one time or another. It was all happening to me at once. Goes to the meetings, still confused, just kept turning up. People said, take the cotton wool out your ears and stick it in your mouth and listen to what's being said. 90 meetings in 90 days, keep coming back, and no matter what, do not pick up. Okay, I'll have that one. No matter what, don't pick up. 90 meetings in 90 days. I think I'd done 180 in 90 days. I got to meetings regular. I wanted it. I wanted to stay clean. I didn't want to use. I didn't want to live the life I'd lived before coming to these meetings. So it was a lifesaver. I'd come in on driftwood. And I started to rebuild myself. And with rebuilding myself, I started to rebuild my ego. I got complacent. I started to procrastinate. My life went from unmanageability to becoming, half manageable. I got myself a bank account, a passport, stuff that we take for granted in life that I never had because it was never possible while I was out there using drugs. Now, I'm talking about my recovery in the early days and what it was like for me. That's what it was like. I was living in Bristol. I enjoy Bristol. I met a guy called DJ, lovely fella. He was the first person I really related to when he shared his story. He was talking about being in jail and smoking gear that being up some African's bum for about 3 months and it stunk of shit. And I remember relating a story back to him about when I was in Preston prison. Right, this is a fucking mad one, this one, by the way. I don't even know why I'm going to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you it. So I'm in Preston prison, and you know, the last meal of the night, you get opened up and you've got like, what, 10 minutes to run around the landing and grab what you can. You need a few Rizzler, try and get a fanny mag or, you know, a few rollies or whatever, a few matches of light or something. A bit of gear, that was your top priority, get your drugs in. You know, there was this black kid and he loved fanny mags and he'd just swap you, you know, a little bit of swag. If you got him, show him, and I was on him, no one else was on him, and I'd be getting all these mags for him, and get this little bit of swag off him one day, and put it on the foil, and it was just like smoking like turds. It was like smoking poo, proper. It stunk as shit, but it was strong. I was just wiped out with it, you know what I mean? The smell was was unbelievable. It was the pad stunk of like someone that had like it fucking like shit up in the pads. It was horrible, but. I don't even know. I'm gonna tell you anyway, right? And you know, this is a true story, right? So, gets me tackled, gets all that sorted. A couple of days go by, and I'm out and looking for a few fanny mags for this kid. Gets a big load of them in. Anyway, got a few in the pad now, right? The Razzle, the whatever, the Fiesta, and I'm opening one of them. I'm looking through them. That's what we do, you know. We get a bit lonely in there. My pad mate's on a visit, you know, let's get it on. It's in the lights, put a little smooth FM on, make love to the magazine. So I'm going through it. I love reading the stories, you know, like, they very, like, gripping. Anyway, moving on. One was up the centre page, and I couldn't believe what I saw. You're not going to believe this, right? Centre page. It was none other than me auntie, right? I'm not going to say her name. I've got a lot of aunties, right? I was like, you're messing. Here the fella. I hadn't seen her for years, by the way, right? I hadn't seen her for years, right? And I was like, oh, fuck. So it goes out, like, fuck, I'm in shock. I'm in shock. The door's open. I've got a couple of units left on me phone card. On the phone, boom. Mum, oh, you're never gonna believe what I've just come across there. She went, what is it, son? I said, blah blah, and a fanny mag. She went, what's a fanny mag? So I said, explain to her what one was. She goes, oh my God, Billy, get rid of it now, right? I've been telling me stuff like that. Anyway, we went back to pad. And I thought, oh, this kid will still want these mags, only for a little bit of swag, you know. And I didn't want to go round a wing, and not that anyone knew that she was related to me, because it was, you know, different like location to Liverpool, the name and the title and that. So anyway, I gave it to the kid. But yeah, it was some of the mad things that like I've come across while I've been away. But anyway, yeah. Getting back to my recovery, so I'm right off track with that one. NA back then was it was a joy to go to. You know, it was a new way of life, and that's what they said. If anyone's here and they want a new way of living, just keep coming back. And I wanted a new way of living, and he ended up, you know, going to Thailand and having all these beautiful experiences and all these, you know, insane experiences and also horrible experiences. But I still kept coming back to the meetings. Even when I got back to Liverpool, I got to meetings. You know, I came back to the UK back in 2010. I went to meetings up in Bournemouth where I lived for a bit. I've done meetings all over the world. I've done meetings in Vietnam, Taiwan, Amsterdam, Thailand, you know, Germany. You know, I've done meetings wherever I've gone to. Different countries, Amsterdam. Yeah, I'd say Amsterdam. That was a mad one. But yeah, I've done my recovery, because that's what come first, my recovery. Now I'm back in Liverpool, you know, and it's totally changed. It really has. You've got a lot of different and new people coming through the doors, which is good, yeah, it's great. But I feel that people are sometimes just stuck in that language and stuck in that way of life. And, you know, I remember this guy called Dale Ridgway, and he said, Bill, you know, you're in recovery, swim upstream, don't go with the flow. Now, I see everyone out there going with the flow, are too scared to get out that bubble, to go and travel. And if they travel, they're travelling in herds. Yeah? They go to coffee shops. They go and have big dinners together. They hang around with each other. They're on the phone together. You know, they have these texts that they send to each other. And I suppose it's nice, but it gets a little bit clicky. And that's what I've found. And, you know, there's one member in particular, the first guy that I ever come across. He bought me a basic text. He's an absolute narcissist. You know, people are robbing the fellowship. You know, and it's true, and he knows. And I know. There's people out there that take advantage of newcomers. And I've been there. I've gone to meetings and, you know, I've been on the receiving end of newcomers, and they've been on the receiving end of me. And, you know, it's a very toxic lifestyle within the fellowship as well. I've done things that I shouldn't have done, that I'm not proud of. You know, I've relapsed and I've used in there. But yeah, there's people in there that are their agenda as well is just about manipulating newcomers, taking advantage of them all the time, and you know, it's not on. It's changed a lot, and it's put me right off going. You know, and I know I can stay clean. I know, you know, when you want to surrender, you can surrender from the heart, and that's it. You've had enough. Yeah, that's the truth. I can go to a meeting and not have to worry about like when the next one is. You know, I've been to prison and I stayed clean. Through a whole prison sentence. And what I tried to incorporate when I was in prison was recovery and meetings. And when I used to take addicts who were struggling in the meetings to I'd take addicts to meetings in prison, I struggled with the people who were sharing, because they were sharing about like the heroin use and the crack cocaine use and methadone. Now you've got newcomers now who are addicted to just weed, and not just weed, but they're addicted to weed, they're addicted to spice, you know, alcohol. You know, they mix the substances, so they can't identify with that old school use of drugs, so they struggle to fit in, and they feel different, and they separate themselves, say, well, I didn't do that and I didn't do this, which is true. So yeah, I don't know, some people need a meeting and some people need a beating, that's the truth. You know, and I suffer with resentments. You know, I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm well in the head, because I'm not. You know, there's people on them. I go to their meetings and think, fucking hell, they're just taking the piss out of everyone. And I know they are. And people out there know that I'm talking about, you know, people who are taking advantage of others. So just be careful. I'm not trying to put people off, because it's not for everyone and it is for some. You know, but there is help out there in different forms and different pathways. It doesn't have to be the fellowship. Although it has saved my life, and I'm always eternally grateful for it, because, you know, people will let you down, but the program won't. That's the truth. You know, the fellowship as a whole is not the problem. It's the people that you come across in there. It's not the meetings that's the problem. It's individuals. So let me put that clear now. It's not NA as a whole. It's individual people that you meet who spoil it for everyone else. Yeah. And we all make mistakes. But some people carry on making their mistakes and don't learn from them. But yeah, if you've got a problem, then there's an answer and there's a solution. Thanks for listening.